Happy Monday. I hope your Monday is off to an incredible start. And we are back at it. We are continuing in this CEO Shift live stream series, continuing to pour out so much wisdom. And now we're going to pivot into pouring out strategy. I felt really compelled to share more of my business strategist side with you. And while mindset matters and while understanding the misalignment that so many people are dealing with matters, especially when you feel the urge to step into entrepreneurship, I do think it is really prudent of me to share more about the strategy of really launching the right business and accelerating it to great levels of success from an income and impact perspective. So, what I have learned from both in my own pivot and working with the incredibly brilliant people that I've had a chance to coach and support. What I've learned is without strategy, all that great inspiration doesn't translate into income. It doesn't translate into impact. And it doesn't translate into a business that you actually want to run. And so it's great to be inspired. It's great to be motivated. But those things need strategy. They need a plan. And we hear that word very often, but we don't see it executed because many people don't know how to lean into or establish a boardroom ready strategy that can really make great money in the marketplace. Through my professional career, I sat at the helm of businesses that brought technology together with this desire to produce. I was overseeing e-commerce initiatives. And so with that, it is multi-layered. And so from my own professional experience, I understand that strategy is necessary in order to accelerate success. But one of the reasons I'm making a decision to pivot for the next 10 days and really focus more on how to drive the success in your business is because positioning your business and testing your message and refining how you show up isn't just fluffy work. That is a big part of establishing the very firm foundation of your business. And so I think it's great. And if you need to understand more about what you're sensing when it comes to the alignment or being misaligned or out of alignment with what you feel called to do, I want to invite you to go back to the beginning of the series that I started, 10 days, 10 solid days about how to make that pivot or shift. But what I am going to do from this day forward is really lean into the business. And one of the things that I want to make sure is really clear is that when you are positioning your business in the marketplace, it's a big difference between chasing clients who don't really fit versus confidently attracting the ones you're meant to serve. And if you had to ask me which side that I think is the best side is to attract those who are meant to be served by you. Now, I want you to have both. I want you to have that inner conviction, but I also want you to have the outer clarity that makes your business magnetic. And so I want to lean more into that. And today is going to be day number 1. Hello from Providence, Rhode Island. I love that. I love to meet you here. So today is going to be day 1 because I want to talk about what I call this magnetic shift. When you are in corporate America, right, you don't understand what it takes to really move the needle and attract business to you, especially depending on what seat you sat in. You just know we had good business. You just know your team ran well. You just know you got the bonus. You just know they hit the numbers. And so you don't really understand what it takes to drive the business. What I want you to know is that your success has proven you have capabilities. So even though you may have been the one to run HR, even though you may have been been the one that set in operations, even though you may have been the one that was part of the marketing arm, you have proven that you are successful. But when it comes to business, success won't come from what you do. It will come from how you are positioned. How are you understood in the marketplace? And so, what I want to talk about today is making that magnetic shift, moving from being known for your role to being sought after for how you resonate in the marketplace. Now, when you establish a business, you obviously have an idea of who you want to target. You have an idea of what service you want to provide. You have an idea maybe of what product you want to bring to the marketplace. But more than that, and more than even picking a niche, and I hear that often, pick a niche, more than picking a niche, you have to understand how you're positioned in the marketplace. One of the things that I teach is that you got to know what problem you solve, and you've got to be able to shine a light on how that solution is going to be meaningful to those who want to pay you. Not just a meaningful answer, but it has to be meaningful to those who want to pay you. And so this is why you cannot just pick a niche. You have got to establish your business in the marketplace from a perspective of positioning. You have to position your business in the marketplace. Now, I will tell you, there is a little bit of an advanced thought process that I bring to my clients when we talk about positioning, because a lot of us think about it in terms of the business, and some of us think about it in terms of the audience. But when I work with my clients, I think about it in three ways. There are three prongs to your positioning. The one that often gets missed is the prong of you. You are a part of the positioning strategies. Yes, your business is important, and the problem that it answers, that is important too. And yes, your audience is important. But for the women that I serve who are looking to continue their success, you are a big part of that positioning as well. We want to make sure the success that you bring to the marketplace resonates with you, and that you're showing up in a way that you want to continue in. So there are some clear signs. There are some very clear signs when positioning is not working. So when you have a business and you're operating in business, there are some clear signs when your market positioning isn't working. So let's just talk about when it's not working for you. The clear signs that it's not working for you is you hesitate or you fumble when you're asked, what do you do? So when someone is coming and they want you to express to them what you do, you hesitate or you fumble because it's not connected. If it's connected to you, you'll be able to cleanly and crisply explain or share what you do. Another sign that your positioning isn't solidified and that it may not be working is you keep tweaking your title or you keep tweaking your bio without it feeling right. You keep saying something is off with it. And again, you are a big part of your business. And so it has to resonate with you. But a sign that it may not be doing so is you keep tweaking the title. Or if someone to make a suggestion and all of a sudden that suggestion is your next best idea and you acquiesce to that before you even finish doing what you started. So they'll come to a self-care coach and say, oh, well, you should talk about wellness. And all of a sudden now you're a wellness coach because it hasn't been solidified for you. So you keep tweaking your title or you keep tweaking your bio because it just doesn't feel right. And the last thing that is a sign that it's not working for you is you feel invisible despite your expertise. Your expertise is solid. Your credentials are solid. Your proven experience is solid, but you keep feeling invisible. You keep feeling as though you're not at the helm of your business. That is a sign. That is a very clear sign that the positioning of the business is not working for you. Now, I told you that there were 3 prongs. The first prong is you. It has to work for you. Thank you, Already. It has to work for you. The second prong that is a sign that your positioning is not working is related to your business. Okay. The indication that it's not working for your business is that your content feels scattered. It feels inconsistent or it feels bland. It's not connecting or resonating with you or others. So that is a sign that your business is positioning, the place that you have established in the marketplace isn't working because the content feels all over the board. It feels inconsistent and bland. Now, the one example that I can tell you, and I use this often, McDonald's has been making French fries for 50 years, and they represent them the same every single time. Every single time. They are not confused by the branding of their French fries. They are not confused by the branding of their message because it works for their business. The positioning works, and it needs to be like that for you. Now, I will tell you through my own journey, I had to evolve. I had to get to the point that I kept tweaking it and tweaking it. And one of the misconceptions that I have is that every change, it was an indication that I didn't know what I was doing. But that is not the case. Your pivots and your shifts and your adjustments is so that you can get to the right thing. So you have to be willing to allow yourself to evolve, not beat yourself up because you are evolving. The other indication or sign that your positioning is not working for your business is you get inquiry for things that you don't do. Hear me. If people are coming to you asking you about things that you don't do, it is an indication that your positioning is not working. It is not an indication that your business needs to expand that way. You are blazing a trail, and you need to blaze that trail to 50K, 100K before you start adding other divisions and starting to do other things. Blaze that trail. So if the inquiries are coming in for things you don't even do, if the clients that are coming to the table are not fits for you, that is an indication that your positioning is not working. It needs some work. And then finally, the third indication that your positioning for your business is not resonating is pricing feels shaky because the value isn't clearly understood or positioned. You feel risky asking for it because you're not even convinced that the value is clearly positioned or understood. So the pricing feels so shaky. There's so much hesitancy, and it's because your business isn't positioned well. So remember, I told you there's 3 prongs. The first one was you, and I gave you the signs that are an indication that it's not working for you. The second one was for the business, and I gave you signs or indications that it's not working for your business. And the third prong in the equation of positioning is for your audience. You, your business, and your audience. And there are signs that it is not working, that your positioning in the marketplace is not working for your audience when people nod politely, but they don't lean in or ask questions. We are so hospitable. We are so congenial. We will nod and keep it moving. And so if they're nodding politely, but they don't lean in, it means you're not connecting. Your position isn't connecting. And remember, what problem do you solve that someone is looking for a solution they are willing to pay you for? Both of those things have to be true. The solution and the willing to pay you for. That has to be there. That marks positioning. And so if people are nodding politely, like, okay, girl, I see, but they're not leaning in or asking more questions, the audience is not right. The positioning is not resonating. The solution is not connecting. The second thing that may be an indication that your audience is not working for your positioning is they misinterpret what you do. So they say, so are you a life coach? So, like, they don't know what you do. And I oftentimes will stand back and allow someone else to introduce me to somebody else so that I can hear them say what I do. And for a very long time, they would say she's a motivational speaker. They would say she's a great inspiration. They would name all of the things about me, but they could not tell anybody what I did, what I focused on. And I had to become really laser focused. And I think my daughter said it the best when she said, Mom, I want you to be known as the one to go to when someone wants to go from corporate to entrepreneur. I want to be the expert named when someone wants to take that journey. And so it is prudent of me to make sure that when I am showing up, that is the audience that I'm talking to, so that I don't get polite nods and I don't get misinterpretations where people don't even know what I do. They don't know how to introduce me and they don't know how to say. It's got to be clear that she is the one that you go to when you want to go from corporate to entrepreneur. So if you find that your audience are misinterpreting what you do, they don't even know what you do, they can't even introduce what you do, they're taking a wild guess, and you hear that in the tone, I think you are, or I'm not sure, then that is an indication that your positioning is not working. And then finally, the last thing that is an indication that it's not connecting with your audience is you hear more confusion than you do curiosity, or you hear nothing at all. You hear more confusion than you do curiosity. And so one of the things that I work with my clients on, and we spend a lot of time, because there's so many things that have to be evaluated when you're talking about positioning, when you're talking about positioning for yourself, positioning for your business, and for your audience, is we have to spend some time curating the message, understanding what problem you solve, and understanding how to message that. So here's the thing: strong positioning is the ability to state who you are, what you do, and why it matters in a way that is instantly clear, deeply resonating, and distinct in the marketplace. Let me say that again. Strong positioning is the ability to state who you are, what you do, and why it matters in a way that is instantly clear, deeply resonating, and distinct in the market. And so when you are establishing a business, especially if you're coming from corporate, and depending on what seat you sit in, you don't know nothing about that. All you know is to show up and say, I just want to help people. I hear that all the time. Well, who do you want to help? I want to help everybody. I hear that all the time. You can't help everybody. Tell me who you want to help and what do you want to help them do? You have to make sure you state who you are, what you do, and why it matters. And another thing that I hear people make mistakes on is they give a bunch of disclaimers about who they aren't instead of talking about who they are and what they bring to the table and why it matters. And so when we work on positioning, especially around you, it's got to feel aligned with your purpose. And I spent the last 10 days talking about why purpose is the answer when you are misaligned. It's got to be easy to say, and it has to build your confidence because it actually reflects who you are. You can walk in it, you can own it, you can do it, you can be it. It is you. And so I start with purpose because I want it to resonate deeply with you, first of all. The other thing about strong positioning is when it is positioned as a solution to a problem that someone wants to pay to solve, it becomes magnetic. It becomes this magnetic filter for everything. It filters and drives out your offers. It filters and drives out your messaging. And it even filters and drives out your pricing decisions. All of that becomes clear because you understand this magnetic filter, what problem you solve, who you're solving it for, who wants to pay you to solve it. You understand all of that, and you're easily ready to drive it forward and own it. And for your audience, it speaks directly to their needs, their desires, their fears in a way that makes them feel like you get them better than anybody else. I just recently had a discovery call with someone, and on the call, she told me so much about how my content resonated with her that she was completely sold about working with me before I even got a chance to tell her what working with me would even be like, because she felt seen. She felt understood. She felt validated. The content spoke to her needs. The content spoke to her desires. The content spoke to her fears in a way that she felt like I understood exactly who she was. And so strong positioning is your ability to state who you are, what you do, and why it matters in a way that's instantly clear and deeply resonates and is very distinctive in the market. It is not a lack of talent or capability that is holding you back. So if your business isn't advancing, that doesn't mean go sign up for another accelerator. That doesn't mean go sign up for another class. That doesn't mean go sign up for another credential. That doesn't mean go sign up for another certification. That is not what it means. It's a gap between doing the work and articulating the value of the work. That is the key. And so because we don't know how to answer it, we're trying to solve it with those old tactics. Go get more education. That tactic is not going to solve this problem. It is not. The key reasons why high achieving women are excellent at what they do and often struggle with positioning their business is because they've always been validated by corporate titles. That's one of the reasons. You see, in corporate, credibility is tied to roles and degrees and track record. Their identity is tied to the value implied by their title. You're the VP of marketing, you're the director of operations, or you're the principal, or you're the assistant principal, whatever your title is, you're the head nurse, or you're the lead nurse, whatever your title is, you're validated by that, which says that you understand something about what's going on. And when you step into entrepreneurship, those titles don't translate. You now have to name your own authority. You have to name your authority and why you are the go-to person, the expert for that area of genius, that area of responsibility, that area of service. Because you don't have that corporate title, you got to name it. And without the corporate brand behind you, you got to name it. And that feels very foreign and vulnerable. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm an expert? Yeah, you're an expert. What do you mean I'm the CEO? Yeah, you the CEO. What do you mean? You don't have that validation of your corporate title. And so positioning feels very weird when you got to say who you are. The second reason why high achieving women struggle is you default to task instead of transformation. You're so used to describing tasks. I lead teams, I manage projects, I run operations, because that's how you drove the results. And so when it comes to what are you doing to transform? What are you doing to make impact? What are you doing to make a difference? You can't talk about that because it's not a task. Clients don't buy tasks, they buy results. So making that leap from what you do to what transformation you create is where positioning often gets stuck. Because we can show up and say, well, I run this event, or I host this event, or I do this specific task. But when you talk about the transformation and you talk about being able to help someone drive impact and income, when you talk about the things that you can help them achieve that are not task related, we struggle because our achievement has been long about the task. But running your business is about positioning. Another reason why high achieving women struggle is because they overestimate what's obvious. What comes easy to you feels ordinary. So you assume everybody can do it because it's easy to you. God told us that he would make our burden light. Your burden is light. It's supposed to be easy to you. And when you operate in your zone of genius, especially your God-given zone of genius, it's supposed to be easy to you. But you overestimate easy for not being valuable. And when it comes to you, it feels ordinary. So you assume everybody can do it. But that is not the case. In reality, that is not the case. And you are undervaluing what feels natural to you. So you struggle to spotlight it as a differentiator because it feels ordinary. It feels normal. It feels like something everybody do. And that's not the case. It is unique to you. It's your God-given ability. And he created you so that it would not be a burden. It's supposed to be light. Another reason why high achieving women don't position their businesses well in the marketplace is they fear excluding people. Oh my gosh, is this ever true? Fear of excluding people. Who do you help? Well, I help anybody. I can help everybody. Okay, you can help everybody. But strong positioning means narrowing the message. I don't want to leave them out. I say to people all the time, all of the time, that every messaging you will hear from me says that I work with women, but I have men who ask me to work with them all the time. But I don't talk to them, but they ask me to work with them, and I have men clients, but they are not who I'm messaging to. My positioning in the marketplace is I help high achieving women. That's my strong positioning, and I have narrowed my message to that. And just because someone asked me to help them doesn't mean that I have to change my focus. No, I get to make a decision whether or not they are a good fit for me to work with. But I keep talking to who I'm talking to. And because we fear excluding people, we miss the opportunity to be laser focused and talk to the ones we can actually help solve their problem. Remember, we're looking for the person who's looking for a solution to the problem and is willing to pay. But instead of narrowing our conversation to that group of people, we want to talk to everybody. After years of being rewarded for versatility and broad skills, narrowing feels like cutting off opportunities. You don't want to miss the money. If the money is meant for you, it will come. I just told you, men have come, men have paid me to work with them, but I still keep my focus on who I am called to serve. So strong positioning does mean narrowing the message, but if you're stuck on having a fear of excluding people, you're going to keep speaking to everyone instead of the one who is looking for the solution you're bringing to the marketplace and willing to pay you. And when you do that, the result is generic positioning that tries to appeal to everyone, and it resonates with no one. Hear me. When you have generic positioning, it's an attempt to appeal to everyone, but it's not resonating with anyone. I will tell you, I sponsored an event for one of my clients, right? And so as a part of my sponsorship, I went to her event. I stood up in the front of the room and I talked about who I serve. And afterwards, she said, you know what I found very interesting is you didn't adjust to try to appeal to everyone in the room. No, I always talk to my target audience. I am always talking to corporate women, corporate executive women who are looking to make that pivot from corporate to entrepreneur to continue their success. I'm always talking to them. I am never going to adjust my business context message to appeal to everyone in the room. That is a disservice for everything I am building. The last reason that corporate high achieving women often struggle with positioning in the marketplace is they haven't tested their message in the marketplace. In corporate, we have what's called feedback loops. Some of you may be familiar. It's the meeting before the meeting. It's the meeting with the person to let them know what's going to be talked about at the meeting so that they don't get blindsided in the meeting. So we have these feedback loops, whether it's with our bosses, our peers, or whether it's performance review. But in business, resonance is tested in the marketplace. And that means that you got to show up. And if I had to say the one thing that I say hits women face forward in this corporate to entrepreneur journey is that success in the marketplace requires you to show up in a way that your corporate job didn't. It requires you to show up as the voice. It requires you to show up as the presence. It requires you to show up as the leader of your brand, the leader of your business. It requires you to have visibility in a way that your corporate success did not. And so one of the greatest struggles is that it's not tested ahead of time. The feedback isn't coming from these internal loops unless you have a coach or a mentor, someone who's working closely with you to define that. And if you're looking for all of that validation before you go forward, the answer regarding the validation of your message, your solution, and your branding and positioning, it all resides in the marketplace. It resides on the other side of you showing up. So without a structured way, like the one that I offer, the one that I do with my clients, the process I take them through to help them test, refine, and repeat, test, refine, and repeat. You can't tell whether or not your message is landing or not because it hasn't even had showtime. It hasn't even shown up. It hasn't even been tested. It hasn't even gotten any results. You still flirting with it in your mind. So you default to this broad, safe language where you highlight things and you throw a little business into it. I think one of the best things that my business coach said to me very early on in my journey is she told me I had to get out of being inspirational and really help people understand that I was in business. And so you got to figure out how to test, how to refine, how to repeat, so that they can tell whether or not your message is landing with them. And you can get feedback as to whether or not you need to adjust. And so here's what I bring to the table. When I work as a business strategist with my client, I help you translate all of your corporate credibility, all your professional credibility into entrepreneurial clarity. We do that together. I help you distill transformation from your zone of genius. I talk about zone of genius all the time. And we distill what transformation comes from that. I help you to narrow what feels like a loss and saying that you don't help everyone to actually be a power move for your business so that it can invigorate you. And I give you a process. I give you a method to validate your positioning in the marketplace so that you can feel confident. And I think the thing that did it for me was I did this with someone who is a new client of mine last week for the very first time. And that was the aha moment that I was like, Denise, you need to stop talking about mindset and you need to start talking about the business strategist that you are. When I sat on the call with her and was able to walk through her corporate credibility and help her to get clear as an entrepreneur, when I was able to talk about her zone of genius and help her to understand what transformation she could drive, when I was able to help her understand how narrowing her focus to talk to this one segment was a power move, and she grasped it and the lights of her eyes lit up, I knew that I had not been sharing enough about how strong of a brilliant area this is for me. And so today I am shining a light on it, because if you are in business and you are struggling with those earlier points that I talked about, where you are not connected to your positioning, where your business is not attracting the right people, and where your audience does not understand what you do, you have a positioning problem. You have a positioning problem. And so I'm going to have to continue this conversation because I am pretty much getting to the end of my live stream segment for today. And so I'm going to talk about it some more. I've got 10 more days, and I'm going to go deeper on positioning. I'm going to go deeper on this versus a niche and all of those things. I am going live every day this week during the weekday at 12 o'clock each day. And I'm going to continue to bring out the strategic part of what I do to help businesses drive impact and income. Now, this entire series came about because I am hosting an intimate event at the end of October where women are going to come into the room with me, and we are going to walk through the corporate to entrepreneur method. We are going to understand where they are in their business journey. Are they at the beginning where they're still trying to deal with the misalignment and need to grasp purpose? Or are they at the point where they're ready for positioning, which is a lot of what I talked about today? My framework is pretty simple. We start with purpose, we add positioning to it, and that drives our profit. That's the framework. And the women who are going to come in are going to have an opportunity to be coached in person by me for 2 days. I am so excited, first of all, because we have women who have already said yes. There are women who are coming in from out of town, flying in from out of town, and that warms my heart. But this is my personal invitation to you. If one, you know that you are feeling the nudge to go from corporate to entrepreneur, this space is headed in that direction. And I've been saying for the last 2 weeks that you need to get in a room moving in the direction you want to go. But the second part of this is if you know your business has become stagnant or it never really took off because of some of the things that I talked about today, that's another reason for you to be in the room. You need powerhouse support. You need powerhouse support in the support that is going to help you accelerate your success. So you have my personal invitation to be there. Now, here's the deal. I made a decision last week that pre-sale is going to end at the end of this month. As of right now, we are still in pre-sale mode for the event. So you can get there for under $100 and have access to all of the resources in an incredible experience that I have planned for you. And so I want to invite you to go to theceoshift.live. I want to invite you to go there. I want to invite you to take in everything that has been defined or described there for you and really assess if this is the space and room that is going to accelerate your success. If it is, there's one thing that you need to do today, and that is decide to be there. That's it. Decide to be there. Now, I know in my own journey that so much transformation happens for me when I just decide that that's what I'm going to do. It's almost like this attracting agent of everything that I need along the way wakes up because they say, oh, she means business now. And so I want to invite you to decide today to be there. Now, there is a max capacity. And when we hit it, I'm going to close the doors and I am going to go with the goers. I am going to go with those who made purpose in their heart to get in their room because they sense that their destiny is calling and they sense that I am a partner for their journey. And if that's you, I want you to be there. So all you need to do is go to www.theceoshift.live. Take advantage of the opportunity to get in the room under the pre-sale rate And otherwise, I will look forward to continuing this conversation. I got so many notes. I didn't even get to all my notes. So this is going to be a good conversation because I need you to understand that I am made for this. I am a business strategist through and through, and I am here to accelerate you. I'll see you in the room, or I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. One more thing. If you heard something that can help somebody else, be sure to like and share. Be your sister's keeper. Like and share so that they can hear this too. I'll see you tomorrow.